Besides the elements and besides dehydration, the #1 way that people die in off-grid situations is infection. So you gotta be careful of that, which is why today I'm gonna show you 7 ways that you could possibly die from infection. And I'm gonna tell you my little secret, what I use from my friends at Ozio Medical. My name is Jason Hanson. I'm a former CIA officer. I'm also an Eagle Scout. So I have been in many, many situations in my life where it was critical that I didn't get an infection, that I didn't get a parasite. So let's jump right now to the 7 ways that infection could kill you. And then I'm gonna tell you what I do to keep myself, my wife, and my 7 kids safe. This video is sponsored by Ozio Medical, and please remember, this is not medical advice I'm giving you. I'm a former CIA officer. I'm not a doctor. I'm just showing you what I personally do for myself and my family. The #1 way you can become super sick is drinking contaminated water, and this has happened to a few people I know. One of my CIA buddies in particular got incredibly sick, and he drank some contaminated water. I also know this happened to another person who I can't go into for reasons. I thought this was going to happen to me once when I was overseas, and luckily I had my water filter, did what I needed to, and I did not get sick. But you got to make sure that obviously in a grid down situation, you're not drinking this stuff, because then you're going to get all kinds of sickness, parasites, diarrhea, whatnot. So don't do it, and tell your kids not to do it, because I've got 7 little kids, and they're going to be the first to do it. Anyways, let's move on to reason #2 that you might get a parasite and become super sick. Well, obviously eating contaminated foods, meat that hasn't been cooked. This has been sitting out in the sun. This is disgusting. In a grid down situation, you clearly want multiple ways to cook your food. I've got propane stoves, I've got butane stoves, I've got multiple stoves of each of propane and of butane, because I want to be able to cook my food good. I also have a solar oven, so you do not want to eat raw, disgusting, uncooked meat kind of thing. And unfortunately, in a grid down situation, people are going to become desperate if they don't have their food storage, which I highly recommend you have your food storage. Have your number 10 cans, have your canned meat, have your survival food pouches. But not everybody's going to be prepared as you and I are, and they are going to end up resorting, desperate times call for desperate measures, and getting super sick. So this is disgusting. Don't do this. #3 is just poor sanitation and contact with fecal matter. So grids down, you want to make sure in your bug out bag you have some ways. You have some wipes, you have some obviously hand sanitizer, you want to have some soap, have some camp suds to wash your hair or whatever. But hygiene, even though it's not the world's sexiest topic, it is important. So make sure you take care of your hygiene, because you don't want to be dirty and disgusting and get a parasite because you're wiping your bottom and not washing your hands and bad things are happening. Okay, let's move on to #4, eating unwashed fruits and vegetables. So it goes back to, grids down, we got so many other problems. Let's not worry about hygiene. Let's not worry about washing our fruit and vegetables. Yes, you should worry about that, because you can get sick, you can get a parasite. So don't do it. #5 is walking barefoot in disgusting places and having your skin come in contact with a parasite. I have known people overseas, they were walking around and they didn't have the proper footwear they should have. They got incredibly sick. So if you're going somewhere, you know, you're showering at like a communal shower, you're someplace that's dirty and disgusting, obviously wear some sandals or flip-flops, because you don't want to be walking around, especially in bare feet, when the grid goes down. #6 is bug bites. You know, you got some animals, some mosquitoes, some whatever biting you, you can definitely get sick that way. And luckily we're in a first world country. It doesn't happen very often, but it's still an option that could happen, which is why you gotta have a way to protect yourself, which I'm gonna get to in a second. But real quick, #7, person-to-person transmission. So you've got a dirty, disgusting human being who hasn't been washing, who hasn't been taking care of themselves, has no hygiene, AKA little children, who my kids, you know.
It's like, no, did you wash your hands?
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. I know you cannot wash your hands that quickly. So
Person-to-person transmission is obviously a way that you can get a parasite. So what should you do about it, besides being clean, besides taking hygiene a little more seriously, is have some off-grid medicine. What do I mean by that? Is when the grid goes down, you're probably not going to be able to go to the pharmacy, is you've got to have some emergency medicine stocked ahead of time. And a lot of people always ask me, like, is it legal to do? How do I do it? If I ask my doctor for medication, my doctor tells me no. Yes, there are legal ways. The way I do it is a company called Ozio Medical. So one of the things I have right here, and I'm purposely not showing you the label because I don't want to expose my personal information. This is ivermectin, and I'm going to pronounce it, probably butcher it, mebendazole. Ivermectin plus a mebendazole compound, and this compound is to help if, heaven forbid, you got parasites. So instead of withering away and dying, if something happened where you ate some bad food or you're walking around barefoot, this is the medicine that's going to help you get a heck of a lot better, help you feel better. So I highly recommend, not only do you get this, but Ozio Medical has all types of stuff, and I have it for my wife and kids, all types of antibiotics for a grid down situation. So if you want to get some survival medication from Ozio Medical, which is what I highly recommend, like I said, I use them, here's how it works. Here's what you got to do. You go to their website first. You fill out a form. A doctor looks over your information online, so you don't have to go into any physical doctors. You don't have to leave your house, which is obviously awesome. And it's incredibly simple to do. I probably did it in just a few minutes. So go to oziomedical.com. That's oziomedical.com, or click the link in the description and use coupon code Jason for 10% off. But please do it. The medications are going to be hard to get. They're going to be rare when the grid goes down. You're not going to the pharmacy, which is why I have this stuff for my wife and 7 kids. So check out oziomedical.com. Like I said, use coupon code Jason for 10% off. God bless you. Stay safe.